Number 1, Mr. Tommy McAvoy.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker.
Order. 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 Oh. I understand the Lord President's been asked to reply. Mr. MacGregor.
I have been asked to reply. My right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, is attending the Conference on Security and Cooperation in Europe in Paris.
Mr. McAvoy.
Does the leader of the House accept that with the Tory party split from top to bottom in an orgy of bitterness, animosity and hatred which is damaging this country, they are proving that they are patently unfit to govern? Bearing in mind the present Prime Minister's newfound enthusiasm for referenda, can I ask the Leader of the House if he will urge her to resign and call the only referendum that matters a general election, which will give the people of this country an opportunity to elect a Labour Prime Minister?
Mr. Speaker, we've just had the debate on the address and the legislative programme, when the government secured a very large majority of 108. That is, if I may say so, a firm rebuttal of the honourable gentleman's point. We have a full and important legislative programme, and we shall be getting on with it as the House wants us to do. But I have to say, I don't know why the honourable gentleman raises the point, because I have to say to him that when the general election comes and the focus turns on his leader and Labour Party policies, I have no doubt that we on this side will have a fourth very considerable victory.
Michael Jack, number 2.
I refer my honourable friend to the reply that I gave some moments ago.
Mr. Michael Jack.
Mr. Speaker, can my right honourable friend confirm that the excellent European Arms Reduction Treaty could not have been achieved if the weak, indecisive and divided policies advocated from the benches opposite? Would he confirm that the defence of the realm remains a key objective of this government, and that the aerospace workers of Lancashire will have a full part to play in this?
Yes, I agree with my honourable friend, and he's absolutely right. It was because we, under my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister's leadership, and others in the West were resolute in defence and maintained an effective nuclear deterrent that the Soviet Union realised it could not win militarily. And when a Soviet leader arose with the courage and vision of Mr. Gorbachev, my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, was the first to recognise it and encourage President Gorbachev in the process of reform and disarmament, which was so triumphantly sealed yesterday. And I have to say that the treaty signed yesterday is of major significance for the future of Europe. My honourable friend is also right to stress the important continuing role of British aerospace. Of British aerospace. And I agree with him on that, and I'm sure that they will continue to have an important role in this respect.
Has to slip.
What's he doing? I'll tell you what he's doing. He's enjoying the undivided support of his own party. That's what he's doing. Mr. Speaker, will the Leader of the House accept our congratulations on the government's refusal to provide £10 million to fund a city technology college in the Prime Minister's borough? When are we to have the statement on the government's general climb down over the CTCs?
There is no climb down over the CTCs whatever. We have a clear programme, and we now have 15 announced or well in the pipeline. What is more, the CTCs already in existence are not only proving extremely effective in raising standards in inner urban areas, but they are also proving extremely popular with parents, and they all have a very big waiting list.
Hansard slip.
There's no general climb down of the CTCs. What significance are we to read into the Prime Minister having been picked out for special punishment in this particular? Is the truth of the matter not simply that in another area the government's policy is in shambles and that the country now faces all the problems of a lame duck Prime Minister leading a lame duck government?
That was a shambles of an attack. because I have to say to the honourable gentleman that the CTC policy is continuing, that they are proving very popular. I recently myself, as former Secretary of State for Education, announced consultation on a new one, a very good one I believe it will be, in the Bristol area. And in each case we have to look at the matching of sponsors, getting sufficient funds from sponsors, matching of sponsors to sites and to the appropriate inner urban areas. So it is not the case at all that the CTC programme is crumbling.
To David Ashby.
I refer, my honourable friend, to the reply that I gave some moments ago.
Ashby.
The right honourable friend noticed the absence of the leader of the opposition in the chamber. Could he possibly be attending any summit meeting? And if so, would he be advocating his policies of 1983 or of 1990?
I think it has been not the least of the achievements of my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, that the opposition have changed so many of their policies since 1983 on Europe, on the economy, and in so many other respects. And that is a clear indication of the success that we have achieved with our policies in recent years.
To Martin Flannery.
Mr. Speaker, would the Minister, who I know must be worried about many things, different from question time, address himself to the position from which he was recently removed, education? And would he face the fact that the CTCs raised by my right honourable friend and the assistant places scheme put together are costing more than the £500 million that he wrung from the Treasury, I gather, recently? And will he realise that both those things are an insult to the whole of British education? And that there's only a few parents who are lucky enough to agree with them, and that the rest of education is suffering by siphoning off public money to private education.
The honourable gentleman's figures are completely wrong. The two programmes to which he referred are a good deal less than 500 million. But I noticed that he will actually have noticed that in the autumn statement there are proposals to increase spending on education next year by over £3,000 million. And that's a clear indication of the priority we give to it. And both the CTC programme and the Assisted Places programme raise standards. They're one of the means by which we're raising standards, one of the many, and extend parental choice.
To Michael Stern.
I'd refer my honourable friend to the reply I gave a moment ago.
Stern.
Would my right honourable friend agree that the government's policy towards Europe has been wholly vindicated by the success of the ECSC conference in Paris? And would he further agree that the direction of future policy must lie towards greater cooperation across the continent of Europe as a whole, rather than a retreat into a tight economic unit covering less than half of it?
Very much agree with my honourable friend, and I would say to him that, as my right honourable friend the Prime Minister said in Paris yesterday, we hope to see the East and Central Eastern European countries join the Council of Europe. And in the slightly longer term, we would also like to see them join the European community when they are ready and want to do so. And my honourable friend is also right in talking about a wider open Europe. Indeed, I, as a former Minister of Agriculture, believe that the lead that my right honourable friend gave, and I was very pleased to play my part in the reform of the Common Agricultural Policy. The lead that my right honourable friend gave in trying to get a united European position on the GATT-Uruguay round is of very great importance in this respect.
Mr. Dave Nellist.
I refer the honourable gentleman to the reply I gave a few moments ago.
Nellist.
Speaker, is the Lord President of the Council aware that my honourable friend from Bolsover was outside Committee Room 12 this morning at 10 o'clock conducting a most authoritative exit poll of a certain contest, and that of the first... and that of...
Order. Well, he may well have been, but could the honourable relate this to the government's responsibility?
And that of the first 200... and that of the first 200 Tory MPs to emerge, 200 admitted to voting for the Prime Minister, and 200 admitted to voting for the Right Honourable Member for Henley. With all the duplicity and general savagery of the last few days, wouldn't it be better for the Lord President to agree with my honourable friend and to call a general election so that instead of 350 Tory MPs deciding on a political talent contest, 40 million people in this country could pass verdict on the last 11 years of Thatcherism?
I've already dealt with the general election point, but the honourable gentleman brings out the fact that, as ever, the honourable member for Bolsover not only gets his facts and dates wrong, but has got a very vivid imagination. And I am grateful. Well, we'll see. Could I say to the honourable gentleman that I'm grateful to him because he's reminded me that I've still got to vote, and I hope to do so in about 5 minutes.
Mr. Gerald Howard. Number 6.
I refer my honourable friend to the reply that I gave some moments ago.
Gerald Howard.
Would my right honourable friend not agree that the fact that in excess of 7 million people have already registered to buy electricity shares demonstrates the continuing and overwhelming public interest in popular capitalism as espoused only by the Conservative Party under the leadership of my right honourable friend the Prime Minister, and that today's 11 million popular capitalists have everything to fear from the return of an expropriating Labour Party?
Yes, I do agree with my honourable friend. There is no doubt that one of the many successes of the last 11 years of this government has been the wider spread not only of share ownership, but of property ownership. Known for so many years, wider spread of ownership is not a thing that the opposition actually believes in.
Mr. Cleland.
Following on the remarks earlier by the Leader of the House about Labour Party policy, is he aware that at the weekend the Prime Minister accused the Right Honourable Gentleman, the member for Henley, of pursuing Labour Party policy? Could this be why he is so much further ahead in public opinion than she is?
That was a reference. If one actually reads what the Prime Minister says, it was a reference. It was a reference. It was a reference to one or two aspects of economic policy in relation to intervention in industry. But I have to say that if one looks at the totality of our policies in relation to economic policy, where my right honourable friend was totally in support of my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, and the remarks that he'd made, and on a very wide range of other policies, there is a great deal of unity on this side and a great deal of opposition to the policies being pursued by the party opposite.
Peter Thurnham.
I refer my honourable friend to the reply I gave a few moments ago.
Mr. Thurnham.
Is it not one of my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister's many great achievements to have set up the Audit Commission? And isn't it extraordinary that the party opposite wants to abolish it just because it's exposing massive waste and inefficiency in town halls, with over £1.3 billion of savings already identified?
Well, I wish I could agree with my honourable friend that this was extraordinary behaviour on the part of the Labour Party, but sadly it's all too typical. And I was horrified by the reputed remarks of the honourable member for Sheffield Brightside that its unhelpful undermining, this is the Audit Commission, of local authority initiatives undoubtedly means that its days are numbered. This is an organisation which has shown how local authority services can be improved, with the charge payer being saved about £1.3 billion. and showing how waiting lists in hospitals can be cut by a third at no extra cost. So I believe that Labour's action on the Audit Commission carries a single message for charge payers and taxpayers everywhere, and that is they have money to burn and it's going to be yours.